Good afternoon to all of you. I extend my warm welcome to the dignitaries, distinguished speaker, faculty, fraternity, and the participants. Thank you for joining us today on online faculty development program. Myself, Dr. Lakshmi Punia, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics and Statistics, Manipal University, Jaipur. I will be hosting today's online FTP. I trust and pray that all is good with you and your family during this difficult time. As the global COVID 19 pandemic is still peaking around many countries. At the outset, I would like to thank the management of FIRM Society, founder of the society, Dr. Narendra Kumar, and advisory board members of FIRM and eminent speakers of this FTP for supporting us to organize this online FTP. This is a 5-day FDP from 25th June to 29th June 2021 at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. daily from 25 to 29. This FDP aims to give a platform and knowledge to the faculty members, students to think and understand, analyze the cutting-edge research in fields of applied mathematical sciences. The session of the FDPs will be handled by experts from various parts of the world, international universities, and from the industries also. Now, I would like to give a short introduction of FIRMS Society so you all participants may know about the society. This society this society is to promote multidisciplinary research in science, technology, and management. This is an innovative non-profit making forum for researchers, academicians around the globe for research and developments which make this world as a happy home for all living. FIRMS is founded in 2018 by Dr. Narendra Kumar under inspirational guidance from many worldwide academicians and researchers, some like Sanjeev Kumar, Dr. Jagdish Prasad, and other many educationalists in the domain of science, technology, management. FIRMS is working as per vision in all phases of helping for the mankind. FIRMS is connecting global scientists, innovators, industry practitioners, doctors, engineers, management professionals by conducting and sponsoring conferences, technical meetings, and exhibitions all over India and abroad. FIRMS has now members in countries like Slovakia, Estonia, Romania, Ukraine, USA, Poland, Nigeria, Tanzania, Georgia, Australia, Africa, and worldwide. FIRMS members shall play a vital role in upcoming projects like international journals, international conferences, and research centers. FIRMS is going to set up a research center at Jaipur in collaboration with CHPIT Private Limited, Ukraine, which is a combined venture of the research faculties of ITU Turkey and KHPI NTU Ukraine. This research center will be open to all members of FIRMS India to connect for international guidance in each domain of science, technology, and management. FIRMS is also planning to start graduate, postgraduate, and doctoral program by session 2022 to 23 in collaboration with national and international universities. FIRMS members, management board, and editorial board is highly dedicated to their academic work. FIRMS has also committed to the promotion of high quality research works which can be matched with global standards and regulations for organizing academic research activities. You can also search about the society on Google and can know more about upcoming activities and events. Today, we are having one invited talk by the eminent speaker of the day. Now, I kindly request all the participants to mute your video and audio. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in conversation box or chat box. I will bring them up after the presentation and we will have a short discussion on them. Now, I would like to invite our chief guest of the day, Professor Valentina Emilia Balas, Oral Vlasiu University of Arad, Romania, to grace this forum by her address. Before that, I am introducing Professor Balas. Dr. Balas ma'am is currently full professor in the Department of Automatics and Applied Software at the Faculty of Engineering, Oral Valencia University of Arad, Romania. She holds a PhD in Applied Electronics and Telecommunications from Polytechnic University of Timisoara. Dr. Balas is author of more than 270 research papers in refereed journals and international conferences. Her research interests are in intelligent system, fuzzy controls, soft computing, smart sensors, information fusion, modeling, and simulation. She is the editor in chief of International Journal of Advanced Intelligence Paradigms and to International Journal of Computational System Engineering. She is member in editorial board of several national and international journals and is a evaluator expert of national and international projects and PhD thesis. Dr. Balash is the director of Intelligent System Research Center in Oral Valencia University, Arad, and she is director of the Department of International Relations Programs and Projects in the same university. She served as the general chair of the International Workshop Soft Computing and Applications in 8 editions to 2015 to 2018, held in Romania and Hungary. Dr. Balas participated in many international conferences as the organizer, honorary chair, session chair, and member in steering, advisory, or international program committees. She is a member of EUSFLAT, SIAM, and a senior member of IEEE member in TC Fuzzy System. She is member in TC Emerging Technologies, IEEE CIS. She is also member of TC Soft Computing IEEE SNCS. Dr. Balas was past president of IFSA, International Fuzzy System Association Council, from 2013 to 2015 and is a joint secretary of the governing council of Forum of Interdisciplinary Mathematics, FIM, a multidisciplinary academic body of India. Now, please ma'am kindly grace the occasion.
Hello, thank you very much for this nice presentation and good afternoon to all of you. Namaste. Dear distinguished colleagues, precious academicians, research professionals, and dear students, I'm delighted to see a new edition of the Forum for Interdisciplinary Research in Mathematical Sciences, a platform to promote interdisciplinary research in science, technology, and management, organized in Jaipur, India. It is a very important event, and to see this forum is organizing again a 5-day online faculty development program means that is really a successful event. Nowadays, you know all that the technology become king. Technology is changing the way we live, learn, and work. Also, this pandemic changed our lives and keep us online. We hope that in the future we can be in face-to-face edition. Also, I know about all the difficulties that India is going to have with this coronavirus, and I'm sure soon everything will finish. Vaccination is going very well here in Europe, and we can from July to travel inside Europe, and I'm sure soon in the whole world. What I can tell you that also in the last period, a lot of research took place in the field of mathematical sciences and applications. That means a lot of interdisciplinarity. So all of us working in different areas, in engineering, in management, in psychology, in law, in educational sciences, we need all of us mathematical sciences to develop our models and to evaluate them and to grow together. The development all is related to development of the next generation of intelligent systems that can be seen all around us using artificial intelligence and all that is made for the future of our world. Everything, of course, for the benefit of humanity. I congratulate the organizer for such an initiative and hope that the forum will be used to enrich the knowledge in the realm of interdisciplinary research in science, technology, and management through valuable research. I'm sure the forum will evolve to become one of the most important international events dedicated to promoting research and development activities. I would like to express my warm thanks to the organizing committee, speakers, and to all people that supported the forum. We are also looking forward to an excellent meeting with great scientists from different countries around the world and sharing new and exciting results in the field of interdisciplinary research in science, technology, and management. I would like to express my appreciation to the organizing committee for making this forum a possibility. My thanks are going to Professor Narendra Kumar, who invited me to the first edition and to this second edition. I consider him a very active personality and congratulate for all his activity. As I have sometimes to tell you different things, first of all, I will tell you about a famous mathematician, Romanian origin, that is Grigore Constantin Moisil. He was born in 1906 and died in 1973. But he was a computer pioneer and titular member of Romanian Academy. His research was mainly in the field of mathematical logic, Lukasiewicz-Moisil algebra, algebraic logic, and differential equations. He is viewed as the father of computer science in Romania. He was also a member of Academy of Sciences in Bologna, and also in 1996, the IEEE Computer Society awarded him posthumously the Computer Pioneer Award. Why I'm telling few words about him, because he is very famous in our country and also in different countries in the world. And he attracted many mathematicians to come in Romania to visit him and to discuss him about different research that he proposed. And this is the reason I discuss about him. He was looking always around and was doing a lot of studies in mathematics, but not pure mathematics, but looking to different applications in physics, in automata theory, and so on. So he published a lot of papers in mechanics too, in mathematical analysis, geometry, algebra, mathematical logics, and a lot of studies in monogenic function and hypercomplex variable with applications to mechanics. He also introduced many valued algebras, which he called Lukasiewicz algebras, now also named as Lukasiewicz-Moisil algebras. And this was also a first step thinking to fuzzy logic. And for this reason, I told you, I insist on his personality, because even the father of fuzzy logic, Professor Lotfi Zadek, came in Romania and visited him because he was the precursor of fuzzy logic with this many valued algebra. Also, he created new methods to analyze finite automata that we are studying as engineers in so many devices, starting with the PLC. So he was a professor of mathematics in Bucharest, and in 1957, he assisted in setting up the first Romanian computer in the Institute of Atomic Physics and encouraged several of his students to learn computer programming. Thus, he played a fundamental role in the development of computer science in Romania and in raising the first generation of Romanian computer scientists. Many of his books are translated in different languages. Few of them are new and old approaches in neoclassic logics, algebraic theory of automata, transistorized circuits. So telling this story, you can understand that the reason of our forum is to have interdisciplinary research. So being a real mathematician is means, in fact, to develop a lot of problems and to solve the real problems. So trying to find the applications in all fields around. He said at the moment that mathematics will be Latin language of the future many years ago. So the language that is enough to speak and to understand each other in different countries. Also, he said, learning mathematics, you learn to sing. You also know very well that Gauss said mathematics is the queen of sciences. In the next minutes, I want to tell you also another thing, how to do with our studies, with our courses in mathematics. Even I'm an engineer. How to do to attract and to motivate students, because this is a very important fact. In India, I know you have very good scientists. I visited many times India. I saw your teams working in mathematics, in engineering, and I am very much impressed with their studies. I am collaborating with Indian scientists. And here in Europe, we have some problems with mathematics, because nowadays our children, our students need to be motivated. And we are trying to find different methods to attract them and to see how to deal with these methodologies, that in the future to have good specialists and to take the problems in different fields that need mathematical as a tool to continue research and to have a good product and good applications. So in mathematics courses, professors often encourage students to learn and to embrace math by applying it to solve problems that arise in everyday life. To this end, professors develop or design projects. The unstated claim is that encouraging students to conduct research, solve problems, and communicate results of mathematical analysis will help them learn math and how to apply it. The question is, how do we find projects that will motivate and or encourage students to fully work a problem in a way that will enhance their mathematical understanding? There are some specific goals that all lessons and activities within a core mathematics class support or attempt to accomplish. So some specific goals which are hierarchical and build upon another are established a body of knowledge, communicate math, refine technology skills, own problem solving techniques, develop interdisciplinary problem solving skills, and finally establish habit of mind. So we are very much interested in such problems, and even in our discussions with the professors that visited us and have collaboration with us. We have a good friend in Taiwan. He is professor working in automatics, but he is very much concerned about math classes that students need to take in the first 2 years of studying. And he insisted to have these classes and to have specific topic on Laplace transform, Z transform, and so on, because students need to understand practical applications that are standing near these notions. So we discuss a lot on this, but I have some proposals here that are good for our students, maybe for your students. So how to attract, how to motivate students? These problems are also interesting for students that are in high school, but also for our students in the first year of studying engineering, management, even mathematics, physics, and so on. So to try to motivate them and to work on projects. So there are 5 features that I am discussing here very shortly, because my talk need to be not too long, but to attract somehow. So these 5 features that I am discussing here are real world, interdisciplinary, stakeholder consideration, ill-defined guidance, and buy-in. So having in mind these problems, maybe we can attract students along some project to study more mathematics, because without mathematics is not possible to have a real study, a nice problem, a nice model, and an evaluation. We all need mathematics. So thinking to the first feature, real world, for students to be interested in a project, it may be useful for them to see it is being part of the real world. By this, we mean that a student should be able to perceive the subject of the project as living in his or her own world. Oftentimes, professors develop real-world problems that deal with subjects or topics with which the student has no experience or familiarity, such as physics-related topics, for example. Such topics may not successfully pull a student in and encourage him or her to fully engage with the project. Thus, developing a project that impacts or pertains to the student's world is advisable. The second one is interdisciplinary. Since many of our students will never be science, technology, engineer, or mathematics major, maybe they are studying different others. There are other disciplines. Due to this, developing projects that are interdisciplinary may be of more interested to students. Doing interdisciplinarity, we will develop a lot of skills to students, not to show him only one direction and to have research in pure mathematics. until he will develop some skills. After that, if he will like this, he will continue with pure mathematics. But this other discipline, maybe other academic disciplines such finance or psychology, or even sport or fashion, this feature in the interdisciplinary ties in directly with the real world feature. Then stakeholder consideration, projects that require stakeholder consideration are useful to prepare students for the real world they will experience after graduation. This feature requires a student to view the problems from the perspective of his or her stakeholder, the customer, or the decision maker for whom the student analyst is doing the project or research. Then another feature is ill-defined guidance. The problems that professors often present in math classes are very sterile. There is often one and only one solution. All the facts a student need to solve the problem are generally provided through professors often provide extra unnecessary information. Unfortunately, real problems generally are not as net. Thus, building a problem with ill-defined guidance is a good teaching tool, and so on. And the last one, buy-in. Finally, buying in is key to project success. Professors want their students to fully commit to the project and treat it as one that they have vested interest in completing. Through the other four features, a certain amount of buy-in can be enhanced or maybe even achieved. And there are many things to tell here about these different features, how to attract, how to do with our students, with our PhD students that have research that need to follow and to develop. But the first step must be done in such a way. Telling you this, I want to wish an active participation and wish you all to enjoy the forum with fruitful results. And I hope you will have nice presentation with our colleagues from different countries. And I wish you to see in the next edition of the forum. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks so much for your kind words, support, and time for us. Now, I would like to invite our speaker of the day, Professor Anirudh Pradhan, for his speech. But before his speech, I am giving some introduction. Dr. Anirudh Pradhan got educated at University of Gorakhpur, where from he obtained MSc and PhD degree in the subject of mathematics. Presently, he is Professor of Mathematics in Institute of Applied Sciences and Humanities, GLA University, Mathura, UP. He is also working as a Dean, Research and Development at GLA University. Dr. Pradhan has worked as a visiting professor in the University of Zululand, South Africa between 1995, 2016 and 2017. Yasoch University, Iran in 2006. He also worked as a visiting scientist to Institute of Mathematical Research, INSPEM, University of Uttar, Malaysia in 2010 and 2011. And JINR Laboratory of Information Technology, Dubna, Moscow region, Russia in 2010 and 2013. Recently, in 2018, he visited the University of Zululand, South Africa as a visiting fellow for 2 months. The main field of Dr. Pradhan is classical relativity, cosmology, and astrophysics. He has published more than 290 SCI Scopus research papers in internationally reputed scientific journals with high impact factor. 24 students have obtained Their PhD degree under his guidance uh, PhD degree under his guidance, and they all are well placed in different institutions of higher learning. He has authored 5 textbooks for undergraduate students in mathematics. Dr. Pradhan is also a visiting associate of 2 nationally reputed autonomous institutes of higher research learning, International Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics (IUCA) at Pune in 2002 to 2022, and Institute of Mathematical Sciences (IMSC) Chennai, Madras in 2009 to 2012. He has been awarded Dr. Abdul Kalam Gold Medal on the occasion of 38th National Unity Conference on Individual Achievements and National Development on 15th October 2016 at Bangalore by Global Economic Progress and Research Association. He has also been awarded Bharat Ratna Rajiv Gandhi Gold Medal Award for his individual achievements and national development on 20th August 2017. In recognition to his scholarship and research potentialities, the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia has granted the project on the topic to study on cosmological constant problem. This project was associated by Professor Jinauddin Malaysia and Professor Amira Hashti Iran. He has also completed 4 major projects funded by UGC and DST. He has a, he has participated in more than 25 international conferences for delivering invited talks and in 50 national conferences in India for presenting research papers. He has research collaborations with foreign scientists in various universities and research institutions. He has published 290 research papers with more than 5,800 citations. His H index is 43 and I10 index is 139, which is very higher. In addition to above, he has also published 2 patents. Recently, Stanford University recognizes Professor Pradhan as in the list of top 2% world scientists based on the survey by Mandalay Scientific Organization in the period 2019 to 2020 for the work in the field of theoretical astrophysics. He got 56th rank in India and 3014th rank in the world out of 110,000 scientists in the field of the theoretical physics. Apart from the above visiting assignments, Dr. Pradhan has also visited different institutions, universities in India and abroad to address academic meetings, seminars, to take a part in international conferences. Welcome, sir. Please grace the occasion with your presence. Thank you. Welcome, Anirudh Pradhan, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lakshmi Madam. I am so grateful to Dr. Narendra Kumar, who gave this opportunity to give a talk in this faculty improvement program during this period. The top, just I have shared my screen. Everybody is seeing my screen. Lakshmi Madam?
No, sir, not now. We
Then
cannot see the screen, sir.
really we use the on this Google Drive first time because we are using on the Zoom. So how can I connect my
Lavanya,
slide?
sir, please. Lavanya, sir, please
In the same,
assist Pradhan, sir,
yes.
so that he can share the screen.
Is it shown now?
No, sir.
Then how?
Sir, there are 3 dots on the bottom of the screen.
Just
3 dots are there on your screen.
yeah, 3 dots. Yes.
Click on that, sir.
Activities. Yeah. Yes. There is your break room, polls, Q&A.
Sir, just close to that, there is an arrow.
In right or left?
On the left side, left side.
There is no arrow like this.
Sir, just close to three dots, sir.
Yes, I have closed it.
Sir, there is an arrow sign.
Arrow sign is there, sir. Sir, very first is your mic icon.
Yes.
Then second, third,
No,
fourth.
no.
These
Just,
press the
yeah,
fourth
arrow,
button.
arrow is here. So that is present
Yes,
now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I click here.
Yes.
Then your entire screen.
Yes, sir. Entire screen or a window, whatever you want to do.
Okay. So share. I have shared. Yes, window.
Then select the window, sir, you want to share.
Yes, share. Now is it visible?
Not yet.
What can I do here? Because it is share here. Share screen and application.
Please share your entire screen, sir.
Okay. Okay, entire.
Yes, sir.
Then share.
Yes, sir.
Then may I open a screen? Is it visible?
Not now, sir. It is not visible.
But I have here share your whole entire screen. Chrome wants to share the contents of your screen with meetgoogle.com.
Yes.
Then what can I do after that?
Sir, on entire screen, then share. You have clicked the share button. Yes, sir. Now it is coming, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now it's okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can see the page.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Oh, I thank you who helped me so far.
Yeah. Thank you.
So the topic of my talk today is the journey of the universe, post, past, and present. Dr. Emilia told the importance of the real world problem. So just I want to share here that my specialization is general theory of relativity, cosmology, and astrophysics. And this GR is a good tool for the real world problem. How, just I will say in my lecture. In the end, I will show you that how it will solve the real world problem. So in general theory of relativity and cosmology, there are the two giants personality. That is, the first is the Albert Einstein, and the second man I will tell you after that. This Einstein says, anyone who has never made a mistake, never try anything new. This is told by Einstein. And he was a German-born theoretician physicist, theoretical physicist, who developed the theory of relativity, one of the two pillars of modern physics. His work is also known for the influence on the philosophy of the science. He is best known to the general public for his mass energy equivalence formula E is equal to mc square, which has been dubbed the world's most famous equation. He received the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics for his services for the theoretical physics and especially for his discovery of the law of the photoelectric effect, a pivotal step in the development of the quantum theory. And the second giant, that is Stephen Hawking. He is known to everybody. Either you are belonging to mathematics or physics or management or science and technology, everybody is knowing the name of the Stephen Hawking.
हाँ मैं आपको बता दूंगा ना
And
हाँ ठीक है ऐसा कर दूंगा पहले थोड़ा शेड्यूल देख लो
he
कैसा
wrote
क्या
here
मिल रहा मुझे
that I do not want to write an
दूसरी है ना हाँ
autobiography.
सर वही तो देर नहीं करूंगा कल ही के 25 आज ही डेट 25 तारीख को आया शेड्यूल कल 26 है तो मैं 2-3 दिन के अंदर लगवा
Please unmute who is talking
जल्दी
here
सेकंड है ना
during this
इसीलिए
talk.
तो
Please unmute yourself.
ठीक है ऐसा करूँ
I do not want to write an autobiography because I would become public property with no privacy left. The intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. This is given by Stephen Hawking. He was the theoretical physicist and cosmologist whose work has changed the face of the science forever. He became most popular following the publication of his 1988 book, A Brief History of the Time, which went to become one of the best-selling titles of all times in the world. Professor Hawking is perhaps best known for his work with black hole, first predicted by Albert Einstein theory of general relativity. Professor Hawking was director of the research and the Center of the Theoretical Cosmology at the University of Cambridge before he passed away 2 years ago or 3 years ago. His incredible scientific work include a collaboration with Roger Penrose on gravitational singularity theorem in the framework of the general relativity and the theoretical prediction that black holes emit radiation, often called Hawking radiation. This Hawking radiation is famous nowadays in theoretical physics. He was the first to set out the theory of the cosmology explained by a union of the general theory of relativity and quantum mechanics. But Professor Hawking was also fascinated by how the world will end, even penning a near certain doomsday date. Stephen Hawking said, "My goal is simple. It is complete understanding of the universe." So I was talking about the universe, that is past, present, and future. So what is the aim of my talk? Past means how the universe was born. Present means what is the present scenario of the universe. And past means the really universe will die or not. So this is the interesting talk about this universe, past, present, and future. Stephen, many contributions to science moved us significantly forward that goal. Much of his work was two major areas, cosmology and the physics of the black hole. I mention only one contribution in each that is stand out, his work on the beginning of the universe and his work on the end of the black hole. Past universe, I am talking about the past universe. Really, if we are talking about the universe, so how universe is born? Who is the creator of this universe? Stephen Hawking says, universe not created by God. God not necessarily. In the new book, world-renowned physicist Stephen Hawking has altered his previous position. He seems to accept a divine creator to argue that the universe is work of the physics, not God. Do you agree? So at that time, the scientists, 37% scientists said, yes, I believe his gravity and not divinity. But at that time, 63%, that is a good majority, told no, God. Means the universe is created by God. But Hawking tell not necessarily. Now we will discuss the both idea, divinity and recent observation in this talk. Hindu cosmological view. Many Hindu philosophies mention that the creation is cyclic. According to the Upanishads, the universe and the earth along with human and other creator undergo repeated cycles of the creation and destruction, pralaya. So just you see here, from the Hindu cosmological view, this universe is a creation in cyclic mode. Means it will repeated cycles of creation and destruction. A lotus flower grew from Lord Vishnu, novel with Brahma sitting on it. Brahma separated the flower into three parts, the heaven, the earth, and the sky. Out of loneliness, Brahma split himself into two to create a male and a female. And from this, all beings were created. Any theory of creation is incomplete without estimation of the age, shape, and size of the universe. Vedas says that our universe is about 155.52 trillion human years old, and it is told total life span is 311.04 trillion human years, which is equivalent to 100 years of the Brahma. According to the Matsya Puran, Sage, Manu was first man and the first human created by God in the above Puran. It was mentioned that Lord Brahma created using his divine power the goddess Sastrupa or Saraswati was first called, and out of the union of Brahma and Satrupa was born Manu. But the ancient Indians not only studied astronomy but also provided theories on the inverse birth, its age, and whether it was die eventually or keep going and on. And ancient Indian civilization was really the only culture that came up with a pretty close description of the known universe that matches the observation and the theories of the modern science. One example that strikes us is the Hanuman Chalisa written by Sant Tulsidas. In a recent, as of the 16th century, the verse 18 says, Jag sahastra jo jan par bhanu, lilyo tahi madhur phal janu. Literal meaning, Hanuman through the sun, that is Bhanu, to be a sweet fruit, madhur phal, which is at a distance of Jug Sahastra Jojan. So just you see in the ancient India, it was told in Hanuman Chalisa. And just I will match this mythology with the present observation. So I can say how rich was our ancient Indian culture and Indian astronomy. Now a Jug or Yug is Satyug, 4,800 Yug, plus Treta 3,600 Yug, plus Dwapar 2,400 Yug, plus Kali Yug, that is 1,200, that is 12,000 Yug. Shastra is 1,000 and Jojan or Yojan is 8 miles in ancient Indian measurement. So we get 12,000 multiplied by 1,000 multiplied by 8. That is your 96 million miles, which is pretty close to the average distance between the Earth and the Sun, approximately 93 million miles. So just you see from the observation, we get the exact distance between the Earth and the Sun is 93 millions. And just from ancient astronomy, Indian astronomy, we got the distance that is 96 millions, which is very, very close to the observational value. So if Tulsidas can so nonchalantly quote an astronomical fact in his developed text, what else can be embedded deep with our ancient texts that are actually devoted to the subject of this vast universe? This diameter about the Hindu cosmological view, the diameter of the sun, the diameter of the earth, it is given this 8,64,337.3 miles, and diameter of earth is 7,917 plus 5 miles, and this is equal to 1.8 yojan. Now the average distance from sun to earth and diameter of the sun is like this, and both are equal to 108 yojan. The average distance from earth to moon, diameter of moon is given by this 23,800 miles. That is close to 108. So no wonder the number of 108 is so sacred in ancient Indian culture, with so much mathematics built into the structure of our solar system, which was recognized by our forefather and made a part of our religious system. It will only be appreciated if we look into our own ancient literature to understand some of the area that present day science is attempting to the uncover. I think most of the people who are joining this FDP belong to India. And just you know, माला में कितनी गुड़िया होती है? 108. एक माला में जिसमें आप जाप करते हैं, मंत्र का जाप करते हैं, उसमें 108 गुड़िया होती है. So just you see the similarity of your Indian culture and Indian astronomy with the observation of the present day scenario. As per Buddhism, Buddha taught that this world will come to an end, but that is time a new world will evolve again. Certain karmas will cause soul to again seek life in the body. Other will follow and become more and more attached to the body, developing passion, selfishness and other evils. So just you see, as per the Buddhism, what Lord Krishna says in Gita, that is the same mythology, that is the same scenario. The Buddhism scripture, Siddharma Pundaka mentioned that there are so many worlds beyond this one that no one should be able to imagine, weigh, count or determine their numbers. So you are the science people, you are the mathematician, you are the physicist. You know that in Milky Way, there are so many stars which are bigger than sun, which are bigger than earth, which are bigger than moon. Very, very big. So, as per Buddhism, there are so many universes in the world. As per Jainism, the Jainism hold that the world, souls and time are uncreated, unbeginning, and unending. The world exists, thoughts its own being, and is divided into the heaven, earth, and hell. Just you see, the mythology of Jainism is the same as Lord Krishna says in गीता. लॉर्ड कृष्णा अर्जुन को गीता में उपदेश देते हैं कि ये आत्मा अजर अमर है, ये तो सिर्फ शरीर को बदलता है. सो जस्ट यू सी हियर, दैट इज द सेम माइथोलॉजी इन जैनिज्म. As per Christianity and Muslim, Christians and Jews believe that in making the man by God on the sixth day of the creation, some 4,000 years ago, out of clay and in his own image, as told in the book of Genesis. The Muslim believe similarly that Allah created Adam, the first man in paradise, then the first woman Hawa. There they lived a perfect life in the perfect universe, far vaster than ours. They were cast to earth when they committed the first disobedience of God after the jealous Shatlam tricked them. So these are the different mythology and how other civilization describe the origin of the universe. That is your Babylonian flat earth floating in the infinite. I think the research scholars and the people who are working research in general relativity and cosmology and astrophysics, the observation says that our universe is flat. Nowadays, we got from the observation. So just you see, it is already, imagine 3000 BCE by Babylonian flat earth floating in the infinite. Biblical flat earth and the Genesis creation narrative, the world created in 6 days. Pythagoras 390 BCE, central fire at the center of the universe around which the earth, sun, moon and planet revolve. So just you see, this is Pythagoras. That is 100% correct with observation. Central fire. From the observation we say that our universe is created with the Big Bang. That is the center fire, which is already examined by Pythagoras before 390 BC. Aristotle, earth at the center and the universe surrounded by the concentric celestial spheres. And Ptolemy, 2nd century, universe orbits around a stationary earth. Medieval philosopher, a finite universe supported by the earth, Muslim philosopher Al-Khandas, the Jewish philosopher Shaudia Gaon, and the Muslim theologian Al-Ghazali. Copernicus to Kepler, 15th to 16th century, sun at the center of the universe with circular planet orbits. This basically summarized the imagination reach of the rest of the world before the event of the modern science enabled scientific to the actually peep into the vast expansion of the universe. So these are our ancient mythology in the different scenario. And now just you see, I will come here, the origin of the universe. Now I am talking about the observation, how the origin of the universe, how the universe born. Just you see here, I say here, the origin of the universe. Just you see in the figure, the best supported theory of the universe, origin centers on an event known as the Big Bang. This theory was born by the observation that other galaxies are moving away from our own at the great speed in all directions, as if they had all been propelled by an ancient explosive force. Just you see, this is the Big Bang. That is the central force. And just you see, this is the first second of the explosion of the Big Bang. This is the situation of the after the 3 minutes. This is after the 300,000 years. This is after 1 billion years. And this is our 14 billion years. So just you see what is the scenario of this, all these first, second Big Bang scenario. Thus I will say in 1980, to explain the condition observed in the universe, astrophysicists Alan Guth proposed cosmic inflation, explained several puzzles with the standard Big Bang theory, in which the universe expands relatively gradually throughout in the history. So just you see, this is the Big Bang. Cosmic, this is the inflation in the first, this is the inflation. So cosmic inflation is the idea that the very early universe went through a period of accelerated expansion, exponential expansion during the first 10 to the power 35 of a second before setting down to the more sedate rate of the expansion we are still experiencing, so that all of the observable universe originated in the small. The universe expanded faster than light. Light's speed limit only applies to the things within the years. So just you see, in size, several times it is less than a second. As the universe expanded, it cooled at around 1 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 35 seconds. Matter and decoupled. So in 1 second, here the matter and the energy decoupled this. And what happens 3 minutes after the Big Bang? At the very instant of the Big Bang, the universe formed as a rapidly expanding ball of energy at extremely high temperature, trillion of degrees. So just some 3 minutes after the Big Bang began, the universe was composed of hydrogen and helium nuclei with a degree D left over energy. And what this year, after 3 lakhs year of the Big Bangs, during this scenario, this process of particle pairing up the called recombination and the occurred approximation 2,40,000 to 30 lakh years after the Big Bang. The universe went from being obscure to transparent at this point. Light had formerly been stopped from traveling freely because it would frequently scatter after the free element. And just you see, after the 1 billion, what was the situation? We do not know the exact age of the universe, but we believe that it is around 13 billion years. Give or take a few billions, astronomers estimate the age of the universe in 2 ways: by looking for the oldest stars and by measuring the rate of the expansion of the universe and extrapolating back to the Big Bang. So this is the whole scenario of the origin of the Big Bang. I have stated this Big Bang in first second, after 3 seconds, after 300 years, 3,000 years, and after 1 billion, and the present age of the universe is 14 billion. This is the origin of the universe. So since there is the short of the time, I do not want to show this one, but just I will show this video half minutes. Okay, it is not running, so I have to go there, but I will leave it. And now just you see the present status of the universe. Just in beginning, I told you that the study of the general theory of relativity and cosmology is a good tool for the real world problem. And this is the present status of the inverse. Just it is shown in the figure. By fitting a theoretical model of the composition of the inverse to the combined set of cosmological observation, scientists have come to up the composition that we describe above. 68% your dark energy of the 68% of the whole universe is dark energy. 27% of the whole universe is dark matter, and 5% normal matter. So just you see that 5% is the normal matter. So 95% is the dark matter and the dark energy. And dark energy and dark matter is the dark of our knowledge. We do not know about the 95% of the universe. We only know about the 5% of the universe. So all our civilization and research and our knowledge about the universe is only in the 5%. And just you see, the scientists in the whole world are trying by theoretically and by observationally just to reveal the character of the dark energy and the dark matter. So just you see, in the 5% of our knowledge of the universe, we try to build our house, our residence on the moon nowadays. So just you see that if we reveal 5% more of the dark energy and the dark matter, I mean to say that if our knowledge will go 10%, then what will be the situation? The situation will be, as we are running from Mathura to Jaipur, so in the same manner, we can run from the earth to the moon and back. We can take our breakfast at the earth and take the lunch at the moon, if our knowledge is increased by 5% more. So this is the present scenario of our universe. So what is the dark energy? By several observations, scientists have found that an unexplained force is changing our universe, forcing galaxies further and further apart, stretching the very fabric of the space faster and faster. If unchecked, this mystery force could be the death of our universe, tearing even in atom part. A British astrophysicist and the advanced fellow of the UK Science and Technology Facilities Council, Dr. Zhao, pointed out both dark matter and dark energy could be two faces of the same coin. As astronomers gain understanding of the subtle effect of the dark energy in galaxies, in the future, we will solve the mystery of the astronomical dark matter at the same time. Thus, you see, this is the present status of the universe. Just you see, it is already shown in the figure. This is your Big Bang. Just you see. So just you see, in very beginning, this was the dark energy. And this was the dark matter. So in the beginning, the dark energy was much lesser than the dark matter. But at the present scenario, as the age of the universe going past, so the dark energy is increasing one by one. And nowadays, the dark energy is 68%. And just you see, the present scenario of the universe is, that is in the very beginning, our universe was expanding. But in 1998, the supernova observation gave the conclusion that our universe is accelerating. That is, the expansion is accelerating. That is very fast. So just you see here, now the scenario of the dark energy at the present scenario. Just you see, it is your around 68-70% of the total universe. That is your dark energy. And just you see here, there was a point at the Big Bang That is from the birth of the universe here, and now the scenario is like this one. After the 14 giga year, just you see the situation of the expansion of the universe is this. Now, this is the dark energy scenario here, how the big crunch theory of the work. This is your infinite expansion. So if our universe is expanding and expanding day by day, and if our universe is expansion is infinite, then it will big crunch. After it will big crunch. Just I will say you the big crunch. Here will be open universe. This is your closed universe, and this is your expansion, infinite expansion. Just I will tell about big crunch just now. This future universe, what will be the future of the universe? It will die or not. So just you see here, this is the dark energy, that is acceleration. This is rho. Rho means energy density of the cosmos, and this rho c is the critical energy density. So if rho is less than rho c, then this will be the negative curvature. And if rho is rho c, that is energy density is equal to the critical energy density, then it will be flat. And if rho is rho c, then this will be the positive curvature. So that will be the situation of the big crunch. So just you see, this is the Big Bang scenario in the beginning. That is look back time, depends on the model. And just you see, after billions of the years, now just you see, this will be the big crunch. And just I will state you what is the big crunch. Big crunch means pralay. So just you see here, a universe in dearth of about 4 crore 33 lakh thousand years, that is one day of Brahma, the creator or Kalp. Just I am saying observational value in years, which will be the Brahma in one day, and it is then desired by the fire of the water element. So just you big crunch in present scenario or in the present astronomy literature, what is the big crunch? This will be explained sorry for the disturbance. Many theoretical physicists believe that universe could end between 2.8 billions and 22 billions year from now. From now means from present. But they cannot agree on its ultimate fate. Ultimate fate means it will die or it will again a cyclic situation. That is, after the big crunch, it will again create a new form. The most precise measurement ever made recently suggested our universe is expanding much faster and previously thought, casting doubts on earlier prediction and even calling into the question Einstein's theory of general relativity. Just as the universe started after Big Bang, astronomers are now attempting to study the expansion to predict how the universe will ultimately end. The rate of this expansion may eventually tear the universe apart, forcing to end in a big rip. Alternatively, the universe could shrink, decrease or decay efficiently, ever rising the Big Bang and destroying the universe in a big crunch. A third theory is described as a big freeze. Many theoretical physicists believe that the universe will end, and it will happen at any point between 2.8 billion years and 22 billion years from now. Certain researchers even suggest the process of its demise has already begun. Another theory, Big Crunch, is hypothetical scenario for the ultimate fate of the inverse, in which the expansion of the inverse is eventually reverse and the inverse recollapse. And the big fridge means the third theory states that the inverse could end due to big fridge, also somewhat conversely called heat death. This scenario is believed to be the most likely according to what we already know about physics of the inverse. The big fridge, which is also known as heat death, is one of the possible scenarios predicted by scientists in which the inverse may end. The moment that happens, heat is in the system will. I was talking about the big crunch and the big fridge. That is the different scenario of that our inverse will end or not. So just you see here in the Hindu mythology, in Jain, in Muslim, and all other mythology, we get the conclusion that our scenario of the life, that is our universe, will be in cyclic mode. माने ब्रह्मांड जो है कभी हमेशा साइक्लिक मोड में होगा, कभी भी उसका प्रलय नहीं होगा. जब प्रलय की स्थिति आएगी, विभीषिका आएगी, जनसंख्या कम होगी, प्रलय आएगा, लेकिन उसका अंत नहीं होगा. फिर हम नए यूनिवर्स को पैदा कर लेंगे और हमारा नया यूनिवर्स फिर दैट विल बी इन द साइक्लिक मोड. It is already concluded in the Indian astronomy, and from today's scenario, from today observation, different observation of supernova, ये observation, and the recent astrophysical data and the observation, we conclude and we have come to the fact that our universe is not going to end, but it will be in a cyclic mode. तो हम ये कह सकते हैं दावे के साथ, ऑब्जर्वेशनल थॉट से, कि प्रलय नहीं होगा, हमारे ब्रह्मांड की समाप्ति नहीं होगी, हमारा ब्रह्मांड मृत्यु को प्राप्त नहीं होगा. सो दैट्स ऑल ओवर. थैंक यू एवरीवन फॉर द पेशेंस. इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेरी यू कैन आस्क द क्वेश्चन.
Thank you so much, sir, for your thought-provoking talk in our today's FDP. If participants have some question, you can put questions before Anirudh sir, Balenu ma'am. Hello, participants. If you want to put some questions, Balas ma'am is there, Anirudh sir is there for answering your questions. Any participants? This is the time for query session. If you want to put any questions before Pradhan sir.
Okay, Lakshmi madam, may I say something? 5 minutes more.
Okay, sir.
With your permission, may I continue?
Yes, sir.
देखिए, ये जो हमने सब्जेक्ट चुना, मैं तो एस्ट्रोफिजिक्स का आदमी हूँ, कॉस्मोलॉजी का आदमी हूँ, लेकिन जब नरेंद्र सर ने हमसे कहा कि एफटीपी प्रोग्राम में बोलना है, तो हमने उनसे बात किया और हमने उनसे ये कहा कि हम एक जो है पॉपुलर टॉक देंगे. और इस पॉपुलर टॉक में हमने क्या किया कि जो प्रेजेंट ऑब्जर्वेशंस है एट द प्रेजेंट सिनारियो, द रिसेंट एस्ट्रोफिजिकल ऑब्जर्वेशन, cosmological observation, since we are doing work in theoretical physics, we are not doing in observation. So what we do in our research, that we compare our theoretical results with the recent observation. So what I tried my best in my talk, that I wanted to enrich the Indian astronomy with the present astrophysical observation. And just you see, this motivates our student to draw their attention to the Indian astronomy. Just there was a Kalad ऋषि ध्यान में बैठ करके और उन्होंने बता दिया था कि पृथ्वी से चंद्रमा की दूरी इतनी यान है, और हिंदुस्तान उस समय सोया था, और उसी दूरी को मानक मान करके अमेरिका जो है अपना पहला यान चंद्रमा पर भेज दिया था। और आज जब पृथ्वी से चंद्रमा की दूरी मेजर की गई तो जो कड़ाद ऋषि ने कहा था वही था। देखिए, जस्ट यू सी इन माय प्रीवियस लेक्चर आई गेव यू वन एग्जांपल ऑफ हनुमान चालीसा, एंड जस्ट आई कंपेयर दैट रिजल्ट व्हिच वाज told before more than 1000 years, and that was the same distance which today we are getting from observation. So just we see, just I want to say that how enriched was our Indian astronomy in our ancient period. So just I chosen this popular talk, that is the journey of the universe, past, present and future, and just we get the conclusion that our universe will never die. It will go to the big crunch, it will go to the big fridge, but it will again start with new scenario. So this cyclic creation will be done in the universe in future too, but it will never die. This is concluded by our Indian mythology as well as from the present astrophysical observation. This I wanted to give my thought in my lecture. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Sir, I have also some
And
questions.
just I want to say, Dr. Emilia, who told that the study of the mathematics our research should solve the real world problem. So just I show you that we only know about the universe, 5% of the universe. Our knowledge is about the 5% of the universe. And the different scientists in the different countries, they are trying to reveal the character of the dark energy and the dark matter, which is 95% in the universe. 95% part of the universe is unknown to me or to us. Only we are knowing the 5%. So just you see, if we increase our knowledge or if we reveal the characteristics of the dark energy only 5% and our knowledge will go up to 10%, then we can get our breakfast on earth and take lunch on the moon. So this general relativity, cosmology and astrophysics will solve the real world problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. Sir, because universe is so much broad, greater and greater. Universe will never die. But can you say that Earth will die or not?
No.
Humanity will die or not?
Because Earth is the part of that universe.
Yes.
That is the
So
part of
the
that
humanity will die or not? The question is that.
Our universe means that covers whole thing. That covers America, India. That
A
covers
universe is
Germany,
not a Earth,
everything.
because universe is so large,
Just
sir.
you see that what
So,
you are saying.
Our
from
planet system will
telescope
die or not?
as well as
Because
from your
in
naked
universe-
eye.
In universe, there can be many things. There are so many black holes and other things. But
Yes,
our
yes,
planet system
yes,
will be die
yes,
or
yes.
not?
Yes, that is included in the universe, and that is included in our 5% knowledge.
It means if universe will not die, is it mean that humanity can be die or not?
No, because your humanity is also lie in the universe.
So
Your earth is
Hello.
in the inverse, your sun is in the inverse, moon is in the inverse.
Hello.
in the inverse, it doesn't mean that it will not die. A particular thing of the universe will not die.
Madam, simply
This cannot be said.
just you see that inverse covers everything.
Yes,
Hello.
universe cover everything. Yes, yes, Raju Bhakta, you can
Yes,
put your
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, I am a research scholar. I have doing my PhD work in probability and statistics. So
Okay.
I want to know one answer. Uh, uh, Give an example. Uh, Give an example. From astrophysics, which is used in probability and statistics area.
Okay. You are putting your question before Pradhan sir.
What is
What
your
type
name?
of question?
What is your name, please?
Sir, name
Raju,
is Raju Bhakta.
Raju Bhakta.
Okay, just Mr. Raju Bhakta, just I want to say that
Yes, sir.
when we are studying our theoretical model with
Yes.
the observational, we use the statistical data. We use the formula of the statistics, your chi formula and so on, just to
Yes.
analyze our result. So
Okay.
statistics is also the part of your mathematics, that is physics, and statistics play a greater role in analyzing the whole scenario, either in management or in science or in technology.
Sir, how to apply many statistical formula in speed-oriented data?
Yes, because in when we are taking your astrophysical data, then from data, we use the statistical formula just to reveal the characteristic of our inverse, of our mathematical model.
Okay.
So,
I'm requesting
so
to
that
the
I want to say that the statistics plays greater role in research.
Okay. Sir, actually, please give me one real life example so that I understand clearly.
Just you see, the mathematics
Sir,
plays the role,
before
the
giving the
astrophysics
answer to
plays
this
role.
question, I want to
आप
request
बताइए,
something.
आप रेडियो बजाते हैं, आप बताइए ये जितना आप वायरलेस का प्रयोग कर रहे हैं, आप देखिए गूगल ड्राइव पर आप काम कर रहे हैं, ये वेव चल रही हैं. So everywhere the use of the mathematics is everywhere, because just you see, if you are doing BSc and MSc, then you are not using the mathematical formalism. But if you are doing BTech or if you are doing MTech, then BTech and the MTech student are studying the use of the real mathematics in their life. Just you see, motor gadi or everything, just you see, there is the use of mathematical formula.
Okay.
That was already very well explained by Professor Emilia.
Okay.
Sir,
Sir, before putting any question, I want to request something with the participants. Participants, if it is possible to on your cameras, because it is an interactive round. So if you can on your cameras, then we can make a pic of we all of this FGP, and also it will be more interactive. So if you are comfortable to on your camera, please on.
Sorry, ma'am, I am not comfortable to.
If someone is not comfortable, then okay. But if the many people are comfortable, then we will make a screenshot of this FDP first day program, and
Achha.
it will be good for us also for making a good report, and it will be more interactive, I think.
Okay.
If other participants also has some queries and you want to put your queries before Pradhan sir and ma'am, please put your queries.
Sir, can you tell me more about dark energy and dark matter? What are these basically?
Pradhan sir, have you listened the question?
sorry.
Okay, Krishna
What is
Singh,
the
please
question?
put your question again.
Sir, can you explain me more about dark energy and dark matter? What are they basically?
Really, just you see that nobody has seen the dark energy and the dark matter, but we have realized the existence of the dark energy and dark matter from observation, because we only able to see the 5% part of the universe. 95% part of the universe is dark. This is experimentally obtained, and that I show you in the figure, that 68% is dark energy and 5% is the normal situation and 28% is the dark matter. Really, in observation, this pressure is negative, because before 1998, when we were studying in general theory of relativity, that is Einstein theory of relativity, so in that theory, the energy condition was satisfied. That is, rho plus p greater than 0, rho minus p greater than 0, rho plus 3p greater than 0. This was the energy condition. So in that scenario, your pressure was positive. But in the case of dark energy, pressure is negative. And this negativity of the pressure is a candidate for the dark energy. And there are so many candidates for dark energy. The best fit candidate is your cosmological constant. If you have studied the Einstein equation, Rij minus half Gij R plus lambda, half Gij lambda is equal to Tij, then this lambda, that is cosmological constant, that is the candidate of the dark energy. And thus, just you see here, the first formula given by the Einstein in 1915, that was free from cosmological constant. And in 1917, the Einstein included cosmological constant in his formula, just find out the static solution. Because during that time, it was observed that inverse was static. But just you see here that in 1998, so again the cosmological constant was deleted from the Einstein equation. But some scientists were working on that with the inclusion of the cosmological constant. In 1998, when we come from the observation of supernova observation, that there is the dark energy, so it was concluded that the cosmological constant included by the Einstein was right, because during that time Einstein told that it is the great blunder in my life. But after the 100 years from the observation, he come to the conclusion that before 100 years Einstein was right, he was not wrong. So this cosmological constant is a simple candidate of dark energy. I am talking there, this is the mathematical scenario. I explain you with giving this example of the mathematics. But when you will study this cosmological constant matching with the different observation, astrophysical observation, then you will find out the different scenario.
Any other query? Any other query in mind? Can we conclude the meeting if there is no query of any other candidate? Okay, then it is the time for conclude the meeting. Once again, thanks a lot, Lord Sir, for accepting our invitation to deliver a talk. And now, at this moment of time, I am concluding our today program, and we will meet again tomorrow between 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. for some other talks by our eminent speakers. Thank you once again for all the participants and our today speakers, Lanu Ma'am and Anirudh Pradhan Sir. Thanks.
I thank you, Lakshmi Madam, you. And just I would like to thank the two personality here, that is your Dr. Narendra Kumar and Dr. Umesh Kumar Sharma from GLA University, Mathura, who motivated our research scholar and the faculty just to get the registration in this FTP program.
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
also a researcher in this
is working
topic,
in
sir.
general relativity and cosmology. And
I
he
am
is
a
associate
student
professor
of
there.
Professor Rajbali.
Yes.
Pradhan sir, I am a student of Professor Rajbali.
Oh,
think
I'm
you
happy.
know.
I am happy.
And I am also a researcher in this field.
What
And I'm
nice.
very glad to meet you on this FDP.
Professor Rajbali is okay? He is
Yes,
healthy?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Lakshmi madam. Then you are relativist, no problem.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, Raju.
Ma'am, any study material of today's session?
There is no study material, I think. Pradhan sir, Raju is asking for the study material.
Just I will share. I will send my PPT to Dr. Narendra ji. No problem.
Okay,
Maybe
Raju.
possible that the young generation will add something more after calculation of the ancient Indian culture,
Okay.
Indian astronomy. They will study.
Raju,
and I
when we
found-
will get the PPTs from the sir, we
Yeah.
will share it with the meeting.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
Narendra sir, can all the
Yes, ma'am.
participants